Hello and welcome to the show. The penultimate round of the FailRace Touring Car Championship heads to the Silverstone GP circuit. One of the longer circuits on our calendar, an interesting challenge for the cars. Certainly there are plenty of long straights for the Focuses and the Scions to enjoy. However, there are also some tricky corners and some tricky complex of corners that the likes of the Siroccos and the Civics will quite like. The qualifying results, and unsurprisingly at the front, it is the Aon Focus. New driver to the championship will get up into second with another Ford Focus. The Scirocco claiming third. The other Aon vehicle down in fourth with me in fifth. Second to fifth was covered by just 0.2 of a second. Sixth place, we have the other of the Rockstar Siroccos. The highest place Scion would get into seventh, while the Civics would make it appearance. I think the first time a Civic has got into the top 8 in qualifying. Further down, it was the Volkswagen Motorsport car. Didn't have a particularly good time in qualifying, down into 10th. Simply getting a clean lap at Silverstone was proving a little bit tricky. Again, we see a Civic right at the very back. I think it was a car that just couldn't quite get a clean lap around this circuit. The Scions did struggle perhaps a little bit around this particular track. The start of the first race was horrendously laggy. No idea. It'd been absolutely fine up until it got to the time we were supposed to go and everything went a bit weird. After that, it quickly calmed down and there wasn't too bad for lag. It was just a weird occurrence. I had a big slide with my Focus through turn 1, as did the Rockstar Scirocco, starting from third. Yet again had another poor start. Ended up out wide on the grass. Cold rear tyres on these cars can be a real pain, especially going into a relatively quick turn 1. The cars do get a little bit slidey, a little bit oversteery. So, yeah, a few people got themselves into a little bit of trouble. But as we come onto the back straight, the Volkswagen Motorsport car again had made a fantastic start, having been well down the order in qualifying. It cleared both of the Scions right up behind me. I think it made up 5 positions through that first corner. Chaos, as there's all a little bit of shuffling around. It was the Civic that had a little bit of a poor start as well, dropping quite a long way back. The Scion here is trying to have a look underneath the Scirocco, just can't quite get his car there. As we come on to one of the straights, takes some of the bollards with him, puts him out wide across the curbs, and now the Rockstar car, after his poor start, trying to make amends. This is a tough corner to get an overtake done on. The Scion, though, struggling with understeer, just can't quite keep it on the track, and the Rockstar car has gone straight past. And then it's up towards Maggots and Beckett. Very fast corners, these ones, and the Scions don't like these particular turns. The Rockstar car will continue to make his progress through the field onto the back of the Volkswagen Motorsport as they head down the back straight. He is stuck on the outside, which is not really where you want to be. You can just about get in front as they turn into this corner, and up ahead I'm making a move past the other of the Rockstar cars. The other Volkswagen is not giving up. He's still trying to make a move stick, but around the outside, that's a long corner to go around the outside. You can sometimes cut to the inside if you want to get a good run off the turn, but he couldn't quite get his car there, and the Rockstar vehicle is safely in front. At the very front of the field, and it was a different car that was leading. The CQR vehicle was leading the way. The Aon vehicles in second and third. The field did become quite spread out quite quickly further back. There wasn't a huge amount of cars close on track further back. The differences in lap times were some of the largest we've seen so far at this particular circuit, outside of the top 5, that was. The top 3 were the closest cars, certainly on the track at the moment. The Aon vehicles were just not quite close enough to really challenge. I was a little bit too far back as well. In 4th place. There was a little bit of battling further down the field. The Rockstar car here had fallen off the track and dropped back behind the Volkswagen Motorsport, and then he's promptly trying to get the pass done again at the end of the long straight. The Volkswagen Motorsport car not having any of it. It's fighting back on the exit of the corner as they go side by side. Now, yes, he is on the outside for this first part. That does keep you on the inside, though, for the final corner. He's running a little bit wide on the exit. The Rockstar vehicle has a go at getting up the inside. Can't quite get it done. And of course, now they've been fighting for a few corners. They've slowed each other down enough that the Scion's got a wheel on the grass, finding its way past. That's, yeah, you don't really want to be putting a wheel on, certainly with these cars. You don't want to be going near the grass. You can get in all sorts of trouble. The Scirocco we're following got a big two-wheeled moment across the curb at turn 2, which, turn 1, sorry, that really does cause problems for these vehicles. Somehow he manages to get it all together again before we get into the next corner. The Scion's having a look. Everybody's bumping into everybody as they head on towards the straight. Now the Rockstar Scirocco has got the pair of them with a little bit of lag going on. The Rockstar Scirocco gets them both coming onto the straight, and now the Scion is there trying to have a look, see if he can make the most of that acceleration. But the brakes on the Sciroccos are so good. They can brake really very, very late into the corners, which makes them very difficult to pass. Sorry. The Scion is quicker at a straight line, but it's not such a huge amount of difference that it just goes blasting past it easily. So yeah, the Sciroccos are a real pain. CQR car would unfortunately have a little bit of an off at the final turn, allow both of the Aeon cars to get through, and then they would begin battling each other to take the lead. The number 22 looking around the outside. If you can keep your car around the outside there, it will put you on the inside for this next turn. He couldn't quite do it, so he's trying a different technique. If you take a wider line sort of on the way in, you can kind of cut back to the inside on the exit, get a good run off the turn. And with these cars, with their turbo rally engine, getting a good run off the turn is so important to getting a quick lap time. And the number 22 is trying the brave, almost bordering on stupid maneuver around the outside of this turn. It's very hard to get that move done when everybody's driving equal cars. He manages somehow, I don't know how on earth he found the grip to do that one, especially putting a wheel on the curbs. The curbs here are vicious. They will really mess up your cars if you get it a little bit wrong. But he somehow made the move stick around the outside. And of course, those couple of corners when they were fighting, they've slowed each other down to the point where the CQR car is right in there. At this stage, I was even catching that lead little group. One of the Scions found himself in Civic territory. The three Hondas found themselves racing very, very close on the track. The Civics have very good traction out of some of the corners, while not as quick in the straight line as the Scion. They do have decent grip and decent traction out of some of the turns. The TC having a go up the inside into turn 1, but the Scions just don't quite have the grip through the corners. The Civic is around the outside, and the TC was so slow through there. He's now got another Civic trying to line him up all the way around the outside of turn 2. That Civic's to the inside. He has problems on the curb, bumps a little bit into the red car. It's the black Civic though that gets a bit more in trouble, having a wheel on the grass and just can't quite stop in time. Gives the Scion a big old shunt, but everybody gets through. The blue car was a bit of the loser in that one, but it's only one position, amazingly, with all of them four running so close on track. Yeah, if you have a wheel on the grass with these cars, you can get yourself into a bit of trouble. And again, the curbs just catching some people out. They are big old curbs here at Silverstone. And now there's just that little bit of gap between them. But the Civics were certainly holding their own. At the front, and the Aeon vehicles were still battling over the lead. Having taken the lead, the 22 car hadn't vanished off up the road like he had done in previous rounds. These other two cars were both pretty damn close on track. You can see in the background, I was just about hanging on to this group. The leader got a big clonk on the curb on the inside, puts his car up onto two wheels, has something to go, wants to go a bit defensive, he can't quite do it. The number 8 is already there and gets past him under braking. The 22 coming back again at him on the exit, looking around the outside. That's a tough manoeuvre to do, but yet again he manages to get some grip. I think the Aeon vehicle on the inside may have clipped the curb and just slowed his exit onto the straight, and that allowed the 22 to get past. And now we're back to doing sort of a focus train down this particular straight. The lead car just far enough ahead as they come into the corner. The Aeon vehicle having a look up the inside. The CQR car is all over the back of them, just ready to pick up the pieces if anything goes a little wrong. Everybody's being nice and tight on the exit, not allowing anybody to get up the inside. They're all looking, but nobody can quite get their car far enough alongside me. All of these cars here are exactly equal. They're absolutely identical cars. all of the focuses. And so yeah, it's tough getting a pass done on a car that's identical to you. Number 8 gets a really good run around that corner, but it's just too far back. The CQR car gets an even better run, but he can't quite get anything done at this moment. As we close in on the final laps of the race, or the final lap of the race, I should say, the leader just made a little bit of a gap back to these chasing pair. I had a few too many mistakes and was a bit further back by the end in fourth place. The number 8 had a bit of a slow lap on the final one, allowing the CQR car to really sort of catch up. And as they come down the back straight, sitting in the slipstream, you do notice the slipstream effect with these vehicles. The third place car really catching up to the vehicle ahead, but can't quite do anything at the end of the straight. It's a little bit too far back, but he gets a fantastic run off the turn, and being the final lap, he wants to go for that second place. He has a dive up the inside, can't quite get it stopped. There's a little bit of bumping between them, but he's stuck on the outside around these final couple of corners, and it's a tough place to stay around the outside and get an overtake done through there. In the end, he has to tuck back into position. The Aon vehicles get a 1-2 as these two cross the line very, very close together. An exciting final lap, an exciting race at the front of the field, this one. Plenty of close action, and definitely the closest action on field was for the top 3. It was very much a Ford domination of race 1, with the two Aon cars taking a 1-2, but it was a very close fought battle with the CQR vehicle in third. I would get fourth. A little too many mistakes from me, just outbreaking myself in places that I shouldn't really have been doing. The Rockstar cars would get 5th and 6th, with the highest placed Scirocco. Scion would make it up into 7th, and the Civics would get a top 8 finish. Yeah, this track, the Scions did struggle a little bit around here. The other Civics would eventually find their way past the second of the Scions, do get 9th and 10th. The Volkswagen Motorsport car would have a spin off a curb and drop all the way down into 12th, ahead of another Civic that was struggling, and another newcomer at the back with a Focus. Yeah, race 1, it did get a little bit spread out at the further back. The front was a very interesting battle for the lead. The second race, we go on with a reverse grid. This time we get off the line with much less of the laggy silliness, which is always good. You always want to have that. They're going 3 wide into turn 1. The Civics get themselves in trouble. This time it's another one of the Rockstar Sciroccos that gets a little bit unfortunate. Again, cars just getting caught out with the cold tyres, although you don't see it on the footage. There was a bit of a Focus slide train going on through that first corner with all of us lot at the back. A lot of cars struggling with just the cold rear tyres. The other of the Rockstar Sciroccos got spun round as we come towards the back straight. It was a little bit of bumping. There often is a little bit more chaos with the reverse grid going on. Yeah, the Rockstar cars really are not the most fortunate ones when it comes to the first few corners. There's trouble. It somehow seems to find them. This time, of course, the Scions with the reverse grid starting at the front, they seem to do pretty well when it comes to the starts. They seem to get some decent starts. The Civic here, though, is trying to get a look up the inside if he can. Use that traction that you get with the Civic. He can't quite do it. The acceleration is too great on the Scion, but the Scion is too far back from the cars ahead. There's one of the Aon vehicles is having a look at getting a move done on a Scirocco as the Civic runs a little bit wide. Everybody's running wide, in fact, on this on this corner. It's quite a few cars ended up out wide over there. It doesn't take much to tiny bit too much speed, and these things are quite understeery at the best of times. One of the Civics ends up out a little bit wide, and that's one of the rare overtakes you will get through Maggots and Beckett's. And then comes the almighty touring car train. I don't think we'll ever see the train as large as this in Forza at any point, as we all want to sit in the slipstream down this back straight. I think it was from first to about 10th or 11th at this stage, with me at the very back of this lot, that were all pouring down in a complete train. The Scion's going to the inside trying to get past vehicles. The Civic here is fighting back on the inside, trying to get past the Scirocco. One of the Scions, I'm not sure if it was a laggy bump or whether it ended up out too wide, or ended up out very wide, in a lot of trouble in a gravel trap. The Civic trying to find his way past. The Scirocco just clips a curb and can't get the car turned, sort of brushes across the nose of the Civic gets fired out wide, but there is plenty of runoff area. You can kind of get away with it. I get bumped out wide as we're all trying to overtake around the final turn. I somehow came out of the other side of it with the positions. Yeah, it was a little bit crazy on this first lap. Scirocco's now fighting back as we go through the first couple of corners. The Volkswagen just so good through the turns. They were 3 wide up ahead with everybody just about fitting through the corner. The Scirocco outbrakes himself. I promptly get the position back at the front. The Aeon car had made his way up into second, was challenging a Scirocco for the lead. Gets things wrong, just a little tiny tag on the back of the Volkswagen, and the Focus is round and onto wheels and eventually tumbles over after bumping the barrier. Yeah, we've seen cars had a similar spin in the Versus community very recently on this corner, an RX-3 and a Beetle. It's just a tiniest bump at them speeds with curbs around. That's all it took to put the Aeon Focus just get a little twitchy, and he couldn't get it back under control and went for a tumble across the grass. The Scirocco having a fight with a Scion. These Volkswagens, they can just carry, they're one of the very few cars that can carry, they'll have the grip, they can carry the speed around the outside of that second corner to get up the inside through here, which is what you really want to be doing to get an overtake. And sure enough, the Scirocco has got the pass done on the TC. You've got to be careful, you've got to make sure you get a good enough drive off this turn, because those Scions are quick in a straight line. This time around though, the TC just couldn't quite get the drive. The Civic, in fact, got the TC on the run down the straight. Aeon vehicles trying to make progress through the field, having of course started from the back. This one, that's just a massive slide into Maggers and Beckers. I don't think I've seen a car get that sideways and save it into that. Normally, if you got it wrong into that corner, you're going to have trouble. But of course, the advantage of having front-wheel drive is you can just boot it and just about sort it out. But he did be a little bit slow through the corners with that slide. Now the CQR car is there fighting back, trying to get to the inside. The Scirocco ahead was battling with the Civic. CQR car just backed out of that one a little bit. Didn't quite fancy having a go. The Aeon car's position is safe, while the Scirocco still can't find a way past the Civics. The Civics were putting up a real fight here. Definitely suited them cars around here. I had caught up to the leader, having just about survived the first few laps, and was trying to pass the Volkswagen. And it's about just how good the brakes are on that car. I've got the drive out of the corner. I've got that little bit more acceleration, that little bit more straight line speed. I just can't quite find a way past. Every time we come into a braking zone, I may be a tiny bit ahead of the car, but it can just brake that little bit later, making it such a difficult vehicle to get past. We're around the final corner. It's too wide. You don't really want to go too wide through the final corner, especially not with cars that understeer as much as these do. I'm on the inside up towards turn 1, but I too fall foul of the nasty curbs. Throws my car up onto 2 wheels, and the Volkswagen has the grip through the second corner, and I've got to be careful. I don't want to spend too long behind the car ahead. I do manage to clip the curb on the inside, and that's what I was afraid of, is getting passed by the vehicles behind. That little bump on the curb is not what you want to be doing. This group of cars are still fighting to get past the Civic. The Civic is still holding his own. The Aeon vehicle is to the inside. The Rockstar Scirocco gets a fantastic run onto the straight, trying to go past, but that Civic's traction off the turns is just about enough to keep it ahead of the Focuses. Now the Scirocco's on the outside. The Civic is also pretty good on the brakes. The Focuses just can't quite get their cars where they need them to be to get an overtake done, and the Civic is defending very, very well. And as the Aeon Focus is looking for a different line, Scirocco's straight up the inside. The CQR car is also there, just sort of looking, waiting for an opportunity where he can get his car past as they come on to this the original start-finish straight at Silverstone, and the Civic is still ahead of the group. The Aeon Focus is now to the inside. It's too wide around that turn. This time they don't quite fit all on the track, as everybody goes and takes some slightly wide lines. You've got to be very careful taking the wide line there. You can end up in trouble with the curves, spinning cars, and so on. The CQR vehicle almost got the move done on the Aeon car, but everyone got a little bit scared. Going too wide into Maggers and Beckett's is not really an ideal overtaking place. Unfortunately for the poor Civic, it just tried to carry a little bit too much speed and bounced out a little bit wide. He would recover the car pretty damn well to keep it right at the back of this group, and now the two Focuses are yet again side by side on their way down the back straight. The CQR car is again having a go on the inside, but just can't quite make it stick. And if you do go for the inside there, you're on the outside for this next corner, and that's a pretty tough place to get a move sticking, and everybody's bumping their way through here. The Civic's right back in with this group. The cars, everybody's having a look up the inside of the vehicles in front, but nobody can quite make a maneuver stick. The Scirocco's trying to squeeze around the outside. He can't quite do it. And at the front, I was still trying to find a way past this Scirocco, who was defending incredibly well. And there was just nothing I could do about it, and I was getting more and more concerned about the train of cars that was catching up to us. I wanted to get the pass done, but I just couldn't quite find a way past. We've got the Aeon Focus, it's very quick. We've got the Scirocco that was very quick. We've got the CQR Focus, all of them that were coming, and I just could not get a move done on this Volkswagen. Coming down this old start-finish straight, Volkswagen goes to the inside, means I have to try the long way around this next corner. The Aeon Focus has gone to the inside of one of the Rockstar cars, and he moves up into third. And now I know I'm in trouble. When you've got one of them vehicles behind you, it is a terrifying sight. I'm pretty much pushing the Scirocco all the way down into Maggotts and Beckett's, but I can't quite get my car in a position to get an overtake done. I just have to sit behind him all the way through here. Now I know my best bet for getting an overtake done is be quick out of these corners, be quick onto the straight, and then I can get the pass done. I can get up the inside. We get a nice close look at a Scirocco as I swing out and just about manage to get my car alongside and use that bit more acceleration from the Ford to get ahead. Now if I go too defensive into here, the Volkswagen will just try go around the outside of me, and that puts me on the outside for the next corner. So I wanted to stay to the outside of this turn, and that would put me on the inside for this next one, and I couldn't do it. The Volkswagen just has too much grip. I do get myself, or try to get myself, to the inside. Again, the Volkswagen can just about keep his car on there. Now I've got the Aeon Focus all over my rear bumper, and that's not the sight that you want to see. I want to attack the car ahead, but you've got to be careful in attacking the car ahead that you don't leave yourself exposed to being attacked from the vehicles behind. And there's a big old train. Again, we have another touring car train going on here at Silverstone, and through sort of turn 1 and turn 2, I can't really close that much on the Scirocco. They've got too much grip, they can carry too much speed through the turns. Fortunately for me, the Aeon vehicle was a little bit wide, and now the Rockstar Scirocco goes all the way around the outside while I'm still trying to line up an overtake on the vehicle ahead. It's all about getting that run out of this turn. Get your gearings right, get the power down without spinning the wheels up too much, and I didn't quite get it right that time. The Scirocco's coming on the outside here, but they've not quite got the straight line speed to do anything. I did get a better run than the Volkswagen Motorsport car, and as we come into the next braking zone, I have to have a go, otherwise we're going to be in a lot of trouble from the vehicles behind. I get my Focus up the inside, but the Volkswagen can just hold it. Everyone's trying to get underneath us as we go 4 wide on the exit. That's not a normal sight. You don't normally see 4 cars wide. Amazingly, we all fit. The CQR car wanted to make it 5 wide at one point on the exit. You just can't fit that many cars through that turn. Somehow we all made it out the other side of the corner, and I found myself in the lead. Now the Scirocco's were left to fight each other, and they get a little bit of a bump on the exit of that corner. The Aeon Focus is coming. The CQR car has by far the best drive. It's too wide into Maggotts and Beckett's, but the Volkswagen Motorsport vehicle can just about fend off these cars. I mean, if you defend well, then it is so hard to overtake with such similar cars. I was a little bit slow through the corners. The Scirocco's did catch up to me, but I managed to get a good enough run onto the straight, and just that straight line speed of the Focus is enough for me to pull just a little bit of a gap, and that's what I've got to do. While these cars here are all fighting, they're all too wide down the back straight. I've got to try and run away as fast as I can, make as big a gap back to these vehicles while they're still jostling for position. The CQR car managed to make the move on the Aeon vehicle. The Rockstar's having a look around the outside, but he just can't quite do it. He can't keep his car far enough alongside to be on the inside for these final turns. Now the Focus is having a bit of a sniff, having a look, trying to get up the inside. He can't quite get his car there. The Aeon vehicle, after being a little bit slow around one corner, is now right back on the trail of this team, and it's not even that far back to the other of the Rockstar Scirocco's and the Civic. Is there still a Civic holding in there at the background? Again, a little bit of bumping through the first couple of corners. We come to this next, a decent overtaking opportunity. Unfortunately, the CQR car just got a little bit brave on the brakes, and unsurprisingly there was a little bit of a bump between the lot of them. Now, amazingly, despite his tumble, the other Aeon car had caught up to this group. That's how much they had been slowing each other down. Despite having his tumble and going to the back of the field, the number 8 was right back in this group. This is the race is run with cosmetic damage, just so if there is a lag crash, it doesn't sort of completely ruin somebody's race. So, yeah, despite his tumble, he lost huge amounts of time, but it was such a huge fight going on at the front that it allowed his vehicle to catch up, and he would get past the first of the Rockstar Scirocco's, and he wasn't that far away from the rest of the group. Mid-stage of the race, and things kind of settled down a little bit. I did have a decent lead for a while, and in trying not to make too many mistakes, I made a stupid one and promptly fell into second. But we sort of sensed an opportunity that perhaps somebody other than the Aeon vehicles could take victory. So I pretty much threw caution to the wind, having fallen to second, went on the full-out attack mode in an attempt to get back past the Rockstar Scirocco. And as we come up towards the final corner, I managed to get the cutback, trying to get my vehicle to the inside. It's yet again too wide through here. The second time I've been too wide through there with the Scirocco, but the Volkswagen can just carry the speed. He has that little bit more grip to carry the speed around the outside, and then I can't do anything into turn 1. I'm on a bit too much of a tighter angle and don't quite have the grip to do it. I thought I was in a little bit of trouble of having fallen that far back through one corner, but the Scirocco was just a little bit slow through this next turn, and if you can get a good run off these next couple of turns, I'll be in a decent position for when we come down the straight. And sure enough, with the race coming to a close, I could stick right on the back of the Volkswagen, just trying to find a way past. Again, there is that ominous sight. We get a very close-up look at the back of a Scirocco. There's that ominous sight of an Aeon car in the rear-view mirror. I get my car to the inside with that little bit more straight-line speed, but it's not going to be enough. We've seen how good the Sciroccos are on the brakes, and they have the grip to keep it around the outside. This does put me in the position that I want to be in. I am on the outside for this next corner, but you've seen how quick I can get through here. I was hoping to try and do the same cutback technique, get a good run off the turn. This seemed to be where I could get a good drive in the Focus. If I could get my car up the inside here, I can sometimes outdrag the Sciroccos, but I just couldn't get it. They got too much speed around the outside, and as we came on to the final lap, I was still having to try and come up with some way I could get past these blooming Sciroccos. He was slow through turn 1 as a backmarker gets his car out of the way. Unfortunately for me, he outbrakes himself into the second corner. I can sort of sweep past as he's still fighting on the grass, has a look up the inside, but there's not really any space for doing that. The Scirocco's across the grass, I'm on the grass on the exit. Now the Aeon car is right there with us as we go almost 3 wide onto this first straight. Yeah, that's not a corner you want to be trying to fit 3 cars into particular, especially not 3 understeery cars into that one with the dangerous curves that we've already seen. But we all make it through. The Scirocco having a look on the outside, can't quite do anything. He's now cutting back to the inside. The Aeon Focus is just there sniffing around, having a look, seeing if he can get anything if we start bumping into each other. And sure enough, the Scirocco's found his way up the inside. I was trying not to give away that space. I just get a little nudge and I'm out wide, and then it's side by side back past the old start-finish straight. The Aeon car is right in there as well. I've got to be brave. I'm on the outside. I gave space to the Scirocco. He clips the curb on the inside, gives me a bit of a bump. I'm out wide. The Scirocco ends up losing the position to the Aeon Focus, and I've just got myself a little bit of a gap as we come into Maggots and Beckett's. It was a rather frantic final lap, this one. There's a little bit of 2 wheels as well. A little bit on 2 wheels through these corners. It was a frantic final lap. One more lap and the Aeon car may well have had me, but I just about managed to drive quickly enough through these final turns without doing anything stupid, so that I am only the 4th different driver to take victory in the Touring Car Championship. An incredible final race, this one. Thoroughly enjoyable one, and yeah, I'm quite glad to have got my first victory of the series. Elsewhere, and a couple of Civics were fighting rather viciously over 10th place. The Scions had just not had a particularly good race. The cars were struggling quite a lot at this Silverstone circuit, but while the Civics went side by side all the way through Maggots and Beckett's, they had slowed themselves down a fair bit, and now the Scion was going to have a go at them We got a nice long straight here for the TC to get up the inside, and sure enough, he's passed one of them before they even get to the corner. He has a big dive, under brakes. The Civics are trying to cut back on the inside. The Scion gets a little bit of a bump from the Civics, and now they're all going to go fight over the same space again into to these final corners. The TC is on the inside. The Civic gives it space again. Everybody's across the curb. There's grass being kicked up. The Civic gives the TC a bump, and then we're going to go 3 wide into the final turn. I mean, 2 wide is pretty damn scary through there, and as everybody bumps into each other, nobody has any steering. In the end, the Scion takes 10th just about from the team of Civics. Yeah, they had a pretty damn close finish between them lots. Yeah, race 2 was absolutely frantic. It was a 1-2 for the Focuses, with me taking my first victory ahead of the Aeon Racing vehicle, although that top 3 could have finished in any order. It could have gone anyway on that final lap. Another 3rd place for the Rockstar Scirocco's. Amazingly, after his roll, the second Aeon Focus would climb up to 4th. Volkswagen Motorsport vehicle had a much better second race, getting 5th. The CQR car would fall foul of a little bit of a lag shunt at some point and drop to 6th. Highest finish for a Civic, getting it into 7th place. As I said, the Scions, it wasn't really their day here at Silverstone, getting a 9th and a 10th on the final lap, only just getting a 10th place ahead of a couple more Civics who had a very good... They were pretty close throughout the entire race. The Civics definitely seemed to do quite well here at Silverstone. They were a little bit unfortunate to lose them positions on the final lap. On to the championship standings, and well, the 2 Aeon cars are at the front. However, I am closing a little bit in on 2nd place. If I have a very good round at Nürburgring and he has a less good round, there is a potential that I could get 2nd, but yeah, it's going to be pretty damn tough. Despite a poor round here at Silverstone, one of the Scions still remains 4th, is the 4th place in the championship. That is the closest battle between the Scion and a couple of the Sciroccos. My teammates down in 7th sadly couldn't make it to the Silverstone round. And then we have more of the Scions down in 9th and 10th. Despite only taking part in 1 race, the CQR car is 11th in the championship. The highest placed Civic is in 12th. They kind of get to a little bit of the Civic zone down there with 12th and 13th. The 3rd of the Rockstar cars is in 14th, ahead of another Scirocco. These are a lot of the drivers who have only taken part in a few of the rounds. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Silverstone was very good fun. Plenty of close action here throughout the field, and I thoroughly enjoyed the second race. Even if I hadn't won, it was still a bloody good fun race. But yeah, it's always nice to take a victory. Anyway, that's it from me, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.